Prepare for a shocking video as we go back in time and have a look at the 1991 Playmates Toys release of the Darkwing Duck Megavolt. A living, breathing battery, this shocking villain can transform ordinary household appliances into electrifying tools of destruction. His bitter feud with Darkwing Duck has led him to target the secret agent as his #1 object of devastating static. Fortunately for Darkwing, Megavolt's power trip fried his mind long time ago. That explains his long conversations with light bulbs and toasters. Alright, so let's go ahead and take a tape measure and figure out how tall Megavolt is. We put it next to him, next to his body. The figure is a very small 4 1/4 inches in height. One of my favorite things about retro toys is also the retro packaging that comes included with them. Here's what the packaging would have looked like. I know we looked at it at the beginning of this review. But here's the original Darkwing Duck Playmates Toys packaging. And the back shows us the other characters: Gosling, Launchpad McQuack, Darkwing Duck, Honker Muddlefoot, Bushroot, Steelbeak, Tuscarnini, and finally Megavolt. It's really a shame that the line didn't expand further, that we could have got things like Liquidator, Negaduck, and Quackerjack. But I think Quackerjack was slated for a second series. We just ultimately never got it, which is the greatest shame of all. Let's move that aside. Okay, so having a look at the figure itself, I guess to some regard, one of the cool figures why and reasons why we're looking at this figure now is I had a while ago had a look at the Funko. This was the Disney Afternoon figures, and this was the Darkwing Duck that came with that line. A superior figure, of course, than the one that we got with Playmates many moons ago. But if you look at them, they actually could theoretically be part of the same toy universe. Megavolt here is a little more on the limited side when it comes to Poseability, but he does work well with Darkwing Duck. I did manage to have in my collection pretty much all the Darkwing Duck toys. So we're going to have a look at those in the series of videos coming up. And the one I didn't get at the time that you're watching this video currently is old Darkwing. So I may go back and pick him up, but I do think the one from Funko is definitely the superior toy of the two. But you can see, though, these could work together if they never released any additional Darkwing toys, which I cry foul. Funko, you got to give us more Darkwing Duck toys. But if not, these toys do technically work well size-wise, and I think detail-wise as well. I'm just going to put Darkwing Duck there. He does have a tough time, unfortunately, staying upright. I think one of the things I noted when we had a look at Darkwing was his feet. He just does have a real tough time standing. Now, hopefully I will be able to get him to stand for the rest of this review. But the other thing I wanted to show you, another example, not quite, I guess somewhat of this similar universe. Here he is next to also the Scrooge McDuck, which also came from the Funko line. So you can see that Megavolt does fit well, despite coming from a different company. Let's move those away. And instead, let's have a look at the accessories that come included with Megavolt. One of the things he comes with is the shock gun, the electricity gun, which is cast in a really rather interesting choice, a translucent purple plastic. It is, as you could probably guess it, I would have said softer plastic. Actually, it's a little more of a denser plastic, which is a really good choice. Odd that they would have gone translucent, but still a nice touch nonetheless. And he also does come with a lightning bolt, or electrical bolt, if you will. This is in a yellow plastic, actually a little softer than the blaster. Now, here is the big problem with both these accessories. If you look at his hands, there's no means to attach them anywhere. I guess you could kind of sort of rest them against his hands, but don't know why they would have given him accessories if not for the fact that he should be able to hold them. I mean, you're sort of just... It almost would look, if I was to see somebody holding a gun like this, I would guess that they've glued it to their thumb and their finger, which really is about the only way that you would actually be able to do that with Megavolt here. Again, I don't know why could they have not included a gripping hand. If not, leave the accessories off altogether. Makes no sense whatsoever. So we'll just move those out of the way. Megavolt was one of my all-time favorite characters from the Darkwing Duck universe. I mean, his Rogues Gallery was awesome. Really making use of some previously looked at characters, previously introduced characters. Like Megavolt could easily be chalked up to an Electro. Bushroot, you could think the equivalent of like a Swamp Thing or Poison Ivy. And Liquidator, you could be similarly looking at like a Sandman or Clayface. They all had those very notable traits that one would expect to find in the comic books, just done in the Disney fashion. One of the favorite aspects of Megavolt, though, is the sockets that he's got on his torso, and of course the prongs on top of his head, which I guess would, not realistically, but it looks like something that you'd be able to plug into a wall. Colorings are very vibrantly bright on this particular figure. His costume is a very nice yellow, very similar actual yellow to the lightning bolt that comes included with him as well. His face sculpt is very accurate. When Darkwing Duck was in its popular time, I used to draw specifically Megavolt on a regular basis. I would always be drawing him at school on my little doodle pad. I also draw Darkwing Duck a lot too. So very fond memories of these particular characters, and finally seeing them here, finally getting a chance to really review them on this channel is long overdue. I've wanted to do this for a while. It's just one of those cases where I never got around to it, and I said, no, reviewer, you're going to do it now. So we're going to have a look at him, and like I said, we're going to have a look at some of the other figures as well. His feature, as they all seem to have features, Darkwing's suffered the most. He had like a spinning hat. But Megavolt doesn't hinder the figure, and it's accurate to what you would expect the figure to be able to do. I mean, he's lightning after all, and electricity. He does have the sparking feature. You'll see these little two wheels on the back of his torso, and if you get a look at the translucent purple opening here on his chest, as you spin this down, you'll see sparks. This is not something you see in a lot of toys nowadays. I guess this would be considered probably unsafe. But it's basically like a little flint. I think that's the name of it. A little wheel inside, and it rubs against it and creates a spark. Now, ultimately, while you're doing that, you're not necessarily building up heat, but you are smelling. You may not smell it because we're not in the year 2045 where smell-o-vision YouTube has existed yet. But it does make a little bit of a smell to it. If you've ever fired off caps or the little rolls of things you would put into a gun, little popping caps, it smells similar to that. That flint may eventually wear its way out in time. Transformers also made use of this line as well, and or this gimmick. That may smooth its way out over the course of time. It may actually stop working, but as this is a relatively new figure, at least in the sense of getting it out of packaging, the function still works. Whew. Poseability on this guy. His head rotates a little on the stiff side there. Like I said, we just got this figure out of packaging. His head rotates all the way around. Arms rotate all the way around. And legs rotate back and forth. Luckily, he does have peg holes on the undersides of his feet, so I mean, if you did have technically a display stand, you could have him in a running pose. He really wouldn't balance well on his own, but luckily if you did have that display stand, you could probably pull it off with old electrifying Megavolt here. In their heyday, Playmates Toys was releasing toys from various different cartoon series. One of my all-time favorites was Darkwing Duck, but Playmates also entertained doing figure lines for cartoons like Earthworm Jim as well, which so happened to be something that I've also looked at on this channel and have considered going back and revisiting those figures. Playmates was one of my all-time favorite toy companies. It still is, But back in the day, they were really releasing a lot of cool toys for cartoons that I really loved as a child. Darkwing Duck has been one of my all-time favorite cartoons. I still go back from time to time and watch episodes on the DVDs that I've picked up along the way, and it's nice to finally have a look at some of these toys on this channel, something I would have done a long time ago. I just simply didn't get around to doing it. Megavolt, though unfortunately is unable to hold his accessories, is an otherwise pretty cool looking figure. It's unfortunate, though, that he doesn't hold his accessories because this would be a home run hit in toy form. Despite that, he does have a gimmick that doesn't necessarily limit or hinder the character. You can still get some full poses out of him, and it doesn't affect him in some of the ways that it would have affected characters like Darkwing. Darkwing had full poseability, but his head looked a little ridiculous because he had the spinning head gimmick, or hat gimmick. I really do like Megavolt quite a bit. And, like I said in the beginning of this review, these two toys scale well together. So, if Funko never releases additional Darkwing toys, which I think is the ultimate crime of it, you could still really, if you collected any of the Playmates ones, you could have them on display with the Darkwing Duck figure here, which is probably what I'm going to end up doing in the meantime, until Funko hopefully gets us more figures. And I don't really feel as if Funko is going to be doing more of these, which again, that's a real crime. I mean, we should be getting some more Darkwing Duck toys, some fully posable renditions of characters like Megavolt. At least we've got the Playmates toys to fall back on in the meantime. Today, though, we were traveling back in time to the early 90s as we were having a look at the Playmates toys, Darkwing Duck, Megavolt. Shocking. If you guys want to go back and have a look at some of the other retro videos that I've done on this channel, there's a category specifically just for retro reviews. And I had mentioned that I want to go back and have a look at the Earthworm Jim toys, but if you guys haven't had a chance to see those, there's an Earthworm Jim retro toy section on this channel as well. You can watch those at your viewing pleasure too. We're going to do some more Darkwing Duck stuff. It may not be the next video, but guarantee, take my word for it, we are going to have a look at them in some future videos, so stay tuned for that. Make sure you hit that little subscribe button down below, ding-a-ling-a-ling-a-ling. No, the phone's not ringing. Make sure you also hit that bell notification so you'll always know when new videos are coming onto this channel. As always, guys, thanks for watching. I'll see you next time.